Hello everyone and welcome to my TJ Silver channel. I would just like to do a little video here just showing you how I have transferred some images onto polymer clay, just very simply using some tissue paper, and this is also a piece of deli paper. I was inspired to do this after watching the wonderful tutorial that Patricia Roberts-Thompson did, showing how you could transfer the patterns from napkins onto polymer clay. Wonderful tutorial. I'll try and put a link below for you to go and watch that because it is great. But it just sort of inspired me really to have a go, because I'm sort of getting more into using sort of my alcohol inks on polymer clay, and I just wanted to see what different ways I could do this. And I have a few little stamps, and I thought it'd be really nice if I could maybe make up some little tiles or something like that that I could cover a box with. And this is one that I've done, and this is just sort of really using some inks. And I've also used the blender solution on these ones here. These are the Ranger ones, and it just I like the sort of slightly oldie worldy look sometimes, and I just thought it just gave a little bit of that look, and I just thought it was quite interesting. I mean, you could turn these things into all sorts. You could make little key rings or pendants, whatever you want to do. But anyway, here goes. So you're going to need some tissue paper. It doesn't have to be anything special. This isn't actually white, I think it's just like a creamy type colour. And I've also got a piece of deli paper as well, because you can also do it on there. So firstly, what I've got here is just a couple of pieces of the white Primo clay, and this has been rolled through my pasta machine on a number 2. And firstly what you need to do is pick up whichever one you want, whichever stamps, and I'm going to use this Celtic knot, and I've got the stazon ink here because you do need a permanent ink for this because you are baking it, and this just helps it to sort of obviously make it more stay on your clay. Just make sure that you do get the ink all over it. So what I would recommend is sometimes if you actually use it the other way up when you're stamping, as opposed to stamping it the other way, that way you can make sure that you're going to get a good amount of ink. Now it's entirely up to you what you want to use. I'll try this on the tissue paper first, and you just layer him down. Just make sure you get it to give a good as you can impression. Don't worry too much if you miss a bit. Like I say, if you're wanting to sort of achieve the more sort of antique-y look, then actually it looks quite good. Now with this you will need to sort of just pull it gently, because tissue paper is quite fragile, and there you can see the impressions come out quite well. And what I would suggest then is that you just maybe cut this out so as you haven't got quite obviously so much overhang in your piece. And once you've done that, all you need to do, and the reason I'm putting these on a tile is that I haven't then got to move them again. So this way I can just lay this down, see which one it fits on best, probably this one. And I'm not too worried if it's going to be central. And really it's just a case of burnishing that down onto your clay. Now I found with the tissue paper you can do that just as well with your fingers, but if you want to you can use a piece of deli paper or just a piece of paper, and just make sure, it's really just making sure that you are getting that on there. And like I say, if you can put it onto your tile and then bake it rather than try and move it from this stage, otherwise you'll find that the paper will pull back and it will try and come up. So part of that impression will have already gone onto the clay, but it won't be heat set, and I think it needs to be to make it really work. The next one I'm going to do is my little Ladybugs, which has come from a Stampin' Up range. I don't know that you can actually get those ones now, but they are doing some wonderful ones which are coming out soon, and anyone in the US should know. Well, the Stampin' Up over there is very popular, and my daughter does it over here, so that's where I get most of mine from. And this time I'm actually going to use the Ranger archival ink, and this one's in the potting soil colour. And we're just going to again get a nice impression. Just see how this works. Make sure you get a nice amount on there, and I'll try it on the deli paper this time and see how that comes out. It's just about making sure that you do get it impressed on there quite well. There we go. And what I would say again is just cut it to size so you haven't got quite so much overlapping, it makes it a little bit easier. And then all I do is bake, and I would recommend that you bake these the first time round for at least 30 minutes. Just make sure you are obviously burnishing that down there, but whatever clay you use, obviously to your manufacturer's recommendations. I did these for 30 minutes the first time at 130, which is about 275, and that's all you need to do. Put that to one side, ready for baking. And these are ones that I did earlier, and I will say that the tissue paper was on the top quite literally like that, and it just came off. You didn't need to put it into any water. Sorry if that went out of shot there, it was just literally sat on there and I just pulled it off. Didn't need to put it into any water. Here's one that I did on the deli paper, and this is actually with a turtle, this one, and again you can just pull that off and you've got the little turtle. But there's also Celtic knot that I did there, which is on here. So very, very simple, very easy. Possibly might have been better, this one with the, might have been better if I did it in black, but I quite like it. Now as far as colouring, that's entirely up to you. What I did was I got a palette here, which as you can see is quite well used. And I found that because I've actually got quite a lot of colours in here, that I started to just pick out the colours on this one. But then, as you do, or as inks can do, sometimes it sort of bled a little bit to the other one, and I just sort of thought, you know what, I'm just going to give it a bit of a wash. And I just used my blender and just really sort of went over it and just let some of the colours, just some of it came off, obviously because that's what that does, but also it just helped to blend it away, and just, you know, I thought it gave a really good effect. So it's entirely up to you what you do, what colours you want to use. You don't need a lot of this, but this is just really enabling me to use up what's here. And just a case of having some fun really with this stage. It's just really about, you know, what you want. You can just take it all over there if you want to. Keep it within those black lines there. And then just have a play. Just see where you want it to go. You can add another colour and blend the two together. Let me see what this, some orange. See how we get on with that. And again, it's just about having a bit of fun with some ink. This is just a very basic brush, quite a fine nib, but it really depends on what you're doing. But I did like the, and you can see I've actually gone over the edge there a bit, but I'm not going to worry about it. You can let this each stage dry a little bit before you add any other colour if you want to. It's entirely up to you. Now I've got some nice blue here, which I'm just going to mix a little bit up here. And as you can see, it waters it down quite a bit, and then I'm just going to run this right over here. Lovely. One of the bristles coming out. And it will, maybe with a little bit more blender, I'll put that on the top, just so as you can see what we can do. So as you're not going to lose where you put it, but it just enables you to move it around. And I just think it just has a nice effect. It just gives it that sort of aged look, tile, whatever. And there you go. And that's all I did. And just touched up the edges, depending on what colour you want. If you want to make them a little bit darker, I would recommend that you perhaps put something on your fingers. But it's just about having a bit of fun and just seeing where you want to go with it really. But I just thought I'd show you a very quick tutorial on how I've transferred some simple little stamps using some archival inks. And like I say, you can quite easily use pens as well, and use blender pens, using the, you know, the blender solutions you can get, and they're brilliant. So have some fun. If you've got any questions, please do ask. And anyone else wanting to experiment out there, go ahead and do it, because it's lots of fun. And you don't have to waste a lot of clay when you do it. You can just little bits at a time, and just, yeah, have a bit of fun and do some painting if you want to with it. It's great. So I hope you've enjoyed that little tutorial, and if you liked it, please give me a thumbs up. And if you wish to subscribe, please do so. And I hope to see you all again soon. Thank you very much indeed for watching. Bye bye.